When a cell tower is proposed, people come together with all kinds of different issues, everything from the radiation to the property value to the financial impacts to the lack of process, just not being notified, and so forth. So let's talk about property values. Cell towers drop property values, and their estimates, I just found this letter going all the way up to 30%. There are also published reports by real estate professionals and analysts that find the property values of nearby homes situated near cell towers are at risk of being devalued 5 to 20%. Realtors consistently report that buyers are reluctant to purchase homes near visible cell towers. If you have a cell tower within the view, like if I saw a cell tower when I was looking for homes, I would look elsewhere, because if I could choose one with a tower or without a tower, which would I choose? Especially when I had children living in my home. There's also a loss of homeowner equity without consent or compensation. And that in turn can reduce local tax revenue, affecting schools and municipalities. A lot of testimony you may hear when there's a cell tower proposed speaks to that. So, are we really saving money by putting the cell tower at the school? Is this really helping our community, especially when, frankly, the leases are so low? Now, small cells also have been documented to impact property values. So here is a picture sent to me by a family in San Mateo. There are the cell antennas right outside the children's bedroom window. Back in 2018, 2019, the FCC was moving forward to fast track 5G and 4G small cells, quote unquote, the 30 feet and lower cell towers. I'm sure some of you on the call remember this time. It's hard to forget it. So at the time, Montgomery County and also several other communities got together and did filings. There was lawsuits against the federal government. Amidst all of that, there were a lot of filings that are extremely useful to read and be aware of. So one of them was by the Smart Communities and Special Districts Coalition, which submitted on the impacts to the community from this fast tracking of 5G and small cells. And in there is a report and declaration by David Bourguignon. I apologize if I did not say that correctly, but that was a real estate appraiser for the Smart Cities Coalition. And there's a report in there about the reduction in value for homes where there are facilities in close proximity. It says, while the magnitude of the impact varies, he says, the studies uniformly indicate that there is a significant impact on residential property values from installation of cell towers. Not surprisingly, the studies that show little or no impact are universally commissioned by and paid for by the telecommunications industry. They also note that these installations can be bulky, inconsistent, and even noisy. That's also an issue with cell towers. They can have a buzz nearby from the machinery. And we have all of that online for you to download. People with more financial resources can more easily move away from the cell antennas. We have at Sciences a page on this on cell towers drop property value. You can download these resources. Everything is hyperlinked. And it also has letters from realtors that we have collected, that I've collected over the years related to property value decreases from cell towers. Companies will often go to schools and say, well, you're going to get some money if we can just lease this amount of land. But it's really not a lot of money that they're getting. This is the Fayetteville, Arizona school cell tower. Recently, it was in the news this year. The lease is $1,000 a month plus $300 more for each carrier. Pole can accommodate 4 carriers. This is not a lot of money for a school district. It does not count the administrative costs for managing the lease. So, for example, in Montgomery County, there's actually staff whose job it is to manage leases. This is time, this is money. That's what this is. Not counted for in that little monthly lease amount. And some superintendents have said, we realize this isn't a lot of money because it is not. So is it worth it? Is the question that communities need to ask themselves. I think the answer is no. There's also innumerable resources spent addressing parent and community concerns. Is that worth it? The other issue is renovation and construction conflicts. And that is how we ended up here with this cell tower right near the Wheaton High School. So this school building was originally set back from the tower, but then they decided to renovate, only they had this cell tower that was on the property. Districts sign leases that some of them are 30 years. That's a long time, 10, 30 years. By the time, there might be more and more antennas added on, the parents, the administration who are involved making that decision are not there for the lifetime of that lease. This is a really important issue. So it doesn't allow for community consent because the decision happened well before the people that are living or working with that tower or schooling with that tower were on site.
Yeah, well, as you know, as a Montgomery County parent, there's lots of construction, and Wheaton is one of the schools that is under construction right now, Wheaton High School. The school has had a cell phone tower on the campus for quite some time. However, with this big construction project going on, there have been changes that put the tower right next to the school. If you look closely, you can see that previously, here's a photograph, the tower was actually on the football field. Now, it's not that it's that the building moved, not the tower. Now this group called Safe Schools has released a video that claims the radiation levels coming from the tower are unsafe.
Their renovation project was around the tower rather than being designed fully for what is best for the school. And there are actually numerous examples of that. This is the Green Bay West High School Stadium in Wisconsin. So the school wanted to renovate their stadium. They had a tower, they wanted to renovate. They had a $9 million renovation planned. But that cell tower was exactly where they wanted the bleachers to go. There were a lot of news stories where they talked about, well, should we move it? If we did, it would be $1 million. What do we do? And a lot of news stories on that. So ultimately, they decided on a compromise, and that was that the school district would pay $130,000 in construction costs to shift the tower's ground equipment under the bleachers, not necessarily safe, but that's what they did, while the city renegotiated its lease. And because of the loss of $155,000, the school district partially offset that by providing an additional $100,000 upfront payment. This is Bennett Elementary in Detroit, Michigan, where there are parents that got involved on this when they realized that was a cell tower, because they didn't know. They hadn't really looked up or thought about it. And a parent realized what was going on and started talking about it. And then in the school board meetings, they began to have many conversations and realized that there were lots of cell towers on their schools. This is one of many. They have these smokestacks, and the antennas are fixated on them all across Detroit, Michigan schools.